Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, January 24th, 2025. NFL Conference Championship weekend is upon us. By Sunday night, Super Bowl 59 will be set. We've also got some big moves in the NFL coaching carousel that we'll have to talk about. We had a few big moves in the MLB that went through this week. And we had the 2025 Baseball Hall of Fame class announced as well. A couple of big namers, 2 first ballot guys, 1 guy on his final ballot that we'll be talking about. Premier League table saw some big shakeups over the last week that certainly make things interesting, especially for a couple of the matchups this week that we're talking about. And we're also entering the final week of the UCL League stage. So a lot of insane possibilities that could play out. A lot of big matchups here for this final match day. A lot just going on all around the sports world. Luke, how you doing today?
I'm good. School's starting to pick up, so my weeks are getting a little bit busier, which is why I got this coffee for the podcast.
Nice.
Because I'm fucking tired.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of exciting things talking about. I'm excited to get into really everything. Champions League match week. The past 2 days were like ridiculous. I don't know what it was about this match week, but those games were insane.
Yeah, and it just sets up for such a fantastic final week that we have next week. It's a quick turnaround though to have everybody play back-to-back weeks. We're not really going to talk about last week's matchups unless like there's some big table implications that happen, which there are a couple. But this week we're mainly going to be looking towards next week's matchups because that's kind of the culmination of it all. But yeah, we've got a lot to cover. So before we get into anything, make sure you are subscribed here on YouTube. You turn on post notifications, and you like and comment here on the video. If you're on the podcast platforms, rate 5 stars. Give us a follow on there. And, of course, follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And then make sure you're joining the Second Short subreddit, r/2ND, A&D short. That's how you can contribute to our Friday episodes here. So we've got a lot on the ledger today. NFL Conference Championship preview, some coaching news, MLB offseason moves, 2025 Hall of Fame class. Then we'll switch over to the Premier League, talk a little bit of Champions League, and then we'll round it out with questions time, which is what you can do on our Reddit, is submit questions every week by about 4 o'clock, and we'll answer them here on the podcast. Luke, got a lot to cover. You ready to get into NFL Conference Championship weekend?
Let's do it. This first game's a heater.
Yeah, it is a
heater.
It's a hot start for sure. These are both very much anticipated matchups. Like I don't know if we could have asked for like more ridiculous matchups to have here. It starts off with the NFC Championship, 3 p.m. on Fox. Commanders, Eagles. Eagles 6-point favorite in this game. Commanders had a big injury last week to their guard, Sam Cosmi. He's going to miss this game, so that's going to be a big factor. But the way that Jaden Daniels is playing right now, yeah, is he a good pickup move?
Yeah, Sam Cosmi, he's like a 86 overall right guard with like he only gets paid like $4 million a year in cash.
Wow.
So for y'all Madden players, if y'all want to trade guy, go for Sam Cosmi, but
Yeah.
not this week because he's hurt. So, but yeah, these two teams like. Sorry to kind of hijack it. I'm just really particularly excited about this game. Obviously, my dad, the Cowboys fan, brutal game for him, brutal game for all Cowboys and Giants fans. But the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders, the past 2 years in a row, I would say have given us one of the most like underrated NFL rivalries like that I've seen in like a 2-year stretch.
Yeah.
Like these games are so close, they're so physical, and sometimes they end up being really high scoring if Sam Howell's your quarterback somehow. But even the last time they played each other in late December, it was a heater. I think the Commanders won like 36-33.
Yeah, and there was no Jalen Hurts in that game.
No Jalen Hurts. Oh yeah, that's right. That was a Kenny Pickett game. But yeah, just a great rivalry game to have in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, and I can't think of a more fun team to watch right now than the Commanders. They get it done. Obviously, they give up a lot of points, but what they do best is offense, and their offense has been unbelievable. When you're taking down a Buccaneers team that was not necessarily like a hot team, but like they came into the end of the season looking pretty good, and you take them down and
Beat
then
them in Tampa.
yeah, you beat them in Tampa, and then you go to Detroit and like embarrass the Lions, I would say.
Yeah.
To the standards of what we expected to happen, you embarrass the Lions. Now you go on the road again. You're no stranger to it, so it shouldn't feel like some foreign territory to go to the link. You do it once a year anyways, but you're going for this game, and the Eagles are hot, but like I'm not necessarily blown away by what the Eagles do on offense right now. They don't throw the ball very well. They're not getting anybody really involved in the passing game. Goddard is banged up. He's been the one who's looked pretty good every week, but there's no consistency from A.J. Brown, no consistency from Devontae Smith, and that starts at the top with Jalen Hurts. He just doesn't throw the ball very well, and they can, they've gotten the benefit of leaning on Saquon in these games. You don't get that benefit here with the Commanders. They're going to score points often. I know the Eagles have an elite defense. The Commanders will score points often, and you're not going to be able to just run the ball the whole time.
Yeah, unless you get the ball first.
Sure.
You can run the ball the whole time. But what I think is a big discrepancy, and I don't want to get too caught up in the Commanders' hype, only because those turnovers that the Lions made were absolutely brutal. And the Commanders' defense, not a very good one. I don't want to take anything away from them.
I think they're underrated.
Turnovers,
I think that defense is underrated.
We can use that word, but they capitalize on turnovers, and I don't want to take that away from them. But I think if the Lions were doing like how I said before, the podcast before the divisional round, is if they were more methodical with their drives, like we're accustomed to seeing, and not turning the ball over, maybe it's a different game. It probably is a different game. And one thing that you're not going to find with the Eagles is, their passing game is bad and they lean on Saquon a lot. You're not going to get a lot of turnovers playing Philly.
No.
And I think that was probably the, elephant in the room difference maker for that divisional game between the Commanders and the Lions. So the Commanders are just going to have to really just try to slow them down defensively, and then offensively do what they do and, score a shit ton of points.
Yeah, I think what the Eagles did so well last week was just like continuing to be able to do whatever it took late in that game to just try and hold them off. The Rams made a lot of very good attempts. It really came down to the Eagles' defense, which I kind of anticipated. I kind of thought that, like, okay, the Rams' offense can get going. And if they are, it's going to come down to the Eagles' defense's ability to just keep them in the game. Just keep them there, and they'll figure out a way to win. It came down all the way to the wire. Big plays by Jalen Carter in that game. Big plays from Nolan Smith in that game. And the rest of this defensive line that really stepped up made the difference. So now you come into this game and you're looking for the same thing. The Eagles have to make plays that make a difference. But this is a way different kind of offense you're looking at. There is no primary target. I know Terry McLaurin's the primary target, but he's not getting like a ridiculous target share right now. And Jaden Daniels obviously plays the game a lot different than Matthew Stafford. I think we can all admit that. But the way that you have to approach this team, maybe you have to use a little bit more caution when you're looking at your defensive game plan going into this game, because the Commanders can just burn you in a bunch of different spots.
Yeah, especially with De'Ami Brown, like kind of coming out of nowhere late in this season. He's been ridiculous for the Commanders.
He had 97 last week.
Been a more sure. Six receptions, 98 yards. I'm looking at the box score right now. He's going to be a guy that you obviously are going to have to account for if you're the Eagles defense. And one thing that I don't think you can bet on that I think really benefited the Eagles against the Rams is when I was watching the game, I thought the Rams overall were the better team.
Yeah.
But when you're down and you got a fucking like 55-year-old quarterback and it starts snowing, your D-line's just going to eat them up. Like, Matt Stafford cannot move in a snowy pocket. That was just proven. So I think for the Eagles is like, you want to try to make sure that you're, really ahead of these guys, because, the Commanders can just score at will. Unless it snows and you're in the lead, then you'll probably be fine.
Yeah, we'll have to see what it is. Definitely the weather came into play last week. That was a huge part of that game, was the weather. But I think
it was the only thing that stopped the Rams from tying the game or winning the game, because Jake Elliott couldn't hit his extra points.
Yeah,
so
it was tough. Yeah. I think the Commanders, to me, are like the hot hand here. they're the one to look at and be like, oh, like maybe they are here for real. Maybe this is real. But also, never seen rookie starting quarterback in the Super Bowl. And Dan Quinn has been there before, but like this is his first year with this Commanders organization. And this defense is not necessarily what you look for in a Super Bowl winning team. Like there's been good young players that have made it to the conference championship. Jaden Daniels by far has the worst defense of all of them. And I just think that those odds they don't stack up well for the Commanders. I want to take them here. It's just really hard to when the Eagles play the same game every week and win.
Yeah.
What's your score prediction?
That's fair. Well, before I get in my score prediction, I wanted to bring up one thing. If Jaden Daniels wins and goes to the Super Bowl, he will have beaten Ben Roethlisberger's rookie win record.
Yeah.
Because I think they're tied at 14, and Ben obviously made it to the AFC Championship game and lost to the Patriots. Imagine that. And obviously, Jaden Daniels has an opportunity here. I'm going to rock with Jaden Daniels. I'm going to go 34-31 Commanders. It only seems right to put both teams in the 30s.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to go 35-31 Eagles.
Okay.
Yeah, I really do think this is going to be a hell of a game. I really hope. I really just hope that the Eagles don't just kick the shit out of them.
That's what I'm hoping for too. And I wanted to bring up a fun fact about the history of the Commanders and Eagles rivalry before we get off this point.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the body bag game?
No. Sounds bad.
So I'm going to start referring to this rivalry as the body bag game because, and I'm reading this straight off of Wikipedia because I wanted to just dig up some information on this rivalry before we started. There was a game in 1990 where the Eagles injured 9 Redskins players in a game.
Oh my God.
And since then, that has been called the body bag game, but I'm just going to start calling this rivalry the body bag game.
Yeah, it's a hard fought rivalry for sure. And like it's so cool that the Commanders are good.
Oh, I know.
It's so great.
I know.
I love it.
And you also have in 2010 the Eagles scored they had the 59-point game, the Monday Night Massacre.
Yeah.
If you want to go watch Michael Vick be a dog, go watch the Monday Night Massacre. I don't know. I just think this rivalry is so underrated, and I'm very excited that we get to get it to decide who goes to the Super Bowl and represent the NFC. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And then we go to the other side, the AFC Championship, 6:30 on CBS. Bills, Chiefs. The Chiefs 2-point favorites in the Arrowhead Invitational, as people are calling the AFC Championship. Now the 7th straight year that the Chiefs have made the AFC Championship game, and coincidentally the 7th straight year that Patrick Mahomes has been their starting quarterback. It's unbelievable. And it's so hard to sit here and say that the Chiefs won't win. It is so difficult to just say that because they're putting in good performances. Last week was a hell of a performance. Like, yeah, the Texans were whatever they were, whatever you wanted to see them as. The Chiefs just dismantled them, in my opinion. And it's so hard to say they're not just going to do it again here to the Bills.
I don't know. I think I see the divisional round for the Chiefs a little bit differently. I think it was one of the worst officiated games I've ever seen.
That is true.
And I hate to be like the broken record. Like if you go on social media and just like read tweets about that game.
And we talked about it a lot on Monday's episode. We went through quite a few tweets.
Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, the Chiefs were the better team, and you could say dismantled, but there were just so many like clips that you could take and just be
they stole the game. They stole the game 100% through officiating.
Yeah, okay,
definitely.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. No, I mean they dismantled the Texans by the end of that game, the Texans had no confidence whatsoever in that game. And the Chiefs do that really well. And sometimes it's just because they play extremely well, and sometimes it's because just every single call is going their way, and you just force the other team into this just like mental torture. That's what happened to the
Yeah.
Texans. They were just in the torture chamber because it's just what the Chiefs get. I don't know what to tell you guys. I think Tom Brady made some good points on. I think he was on with Colin Cowherd or something this week, and he said something about like we need to stop letting officials protect quarterbacks. Quarterbacks need to protect themselves. Patrick Mahomes was not protecting himself in that game. He was manipulating the rules that are put in place to keep him safe. Taking a late slide sideways as the defender's running at you, trying to draw a late hit penalty by flopping on the sideline before you even stepped out. Like all these different little things that are literally, you're just manipulating rules that were made to keep you from getting hurt or being in those situations in the first place.
Dude, he's the biggest pussy in NFL history. You know, I called the touchdown that he threw on third down. Like, it was 3rd and goal. I think the Chiefs were on their 11, and my dad and I were watching the game at a brewery. And I just looked at him. I was like, if I was a Chiefs fan, I wouldn't even be worried right here. Just watch what's about to happen. And, of course, he's got somebody wrapped around his waist and just, like, diving forward, just throws a touchdown pass. It's so annoying. I'm getting really tilted here. I cannot stand the Chiefs. Can we talk about the Bills?
Yes, let's definitely talk about the Bills because they're hot. I know that the Ravens turned the ball over badly in that game, and that was certainly the difference. Was the turnovers because Josh Allen didn't, on paper have a fantastic game or anything, but he got it done, and obviously in the running game he gets the touchdowns. But like, I think what the Bills did there was like really symbolic of what this team has been able to do throughout the year, which is when they have a really good team staring them in the face, especially a good offense, they can play right there with them. They can stay in lockstep with them, despite the fact that I think Josh Allen has maybe a worse or as bad of roster as the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. Like the Bills roster is just not that good. Their weapons at wide receiver are bad. Straight up just bad. Amari Cooper's there really just for his name, I think. Like, he doesn't really do anything. It's just like you have to think about him if you're a defense. Keon Coleman pretty much goes non-existent for like 3.5 quarters of every game. Khalil Shakir is the only guy you really have to worry about. The defense is like a bunch of guys that like, yeah, some of these guys will show up. Most of the time, they don't. It's a lot of guys similar to the Commanders. You just have like underrated, really good players on that defense. None of them are like all pro level players. Unlike the Ravens, who had the most Pro Bowlers in the NFL this season. The Bills just have a team that can win games pretty much purely off of the play of their quarterback.
Yeah.
I just don't know if that's enough to beat the Chiefs and the officials.
I don't know either. I think a difference maker for the Bills would probably be getting turnovers.
Definitely.
One thing that the Chiefs didn't do very well against the Texans, like if you look at the box score, they really didn't have a lot of offensive, like total offensive yards.
No,
like,
Kelsey had a good game, and that was
50,
really it.
Kelsey had pretty much all of Mahomes' yards. But yeah, like looking at this, they had 50 rushing yards as a team. A lot of that is
they haven't been able to run the ball
Ariza,
at all.
Yeah, a lot of that is because Matt Ariza he went for -18.
Yeah,
yards,
that was on
and
the
then
safety.
Worthy,
The safety at the end of the game that was intentional.
Yeah,
but
and then Xavier Worthy had he had -8 yards. So like I guess it's a little bit skewed there, but like the Chiefs really off of this box score were not moving the ball very well.
No, they weren't. They were getting good field position off of turnovers. They were moving up the field on penalties. That was what dictated that game. They were getting good field position because of penalties, like all this different stuff. And it just seemed like from the jump when you have and I want to not excuse the behavior, the player that pushed the coach. That wasn't malicious.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, he came out, he cleared everything up. It was just that, like, I think the special teams had talked about how, like, there's going to be frustrating moments in this game. A lot of it's going to come from the officials. He wasn't happy with the officials, and I think just like heat of the moment, you run over your coach, and like that's just what happens. In that moment, it wasn't anything malicious. Kind of like how everybody just kind of let Travis Kelce push Andy Reid during the Super Bowl last year. Everybody forgot about that. That's what this moment was. So I do want to say that. But like when you see that at the start of the game, it's pretty clear the Texans mentally are just not in that game. At least the same place the Chiefs are. The Bills, I don't think, will let themselves do it, but they can't. They cannot find themselves in that position against the Chiefs. And I think, I really hope Josh Allen is no longer, or, you know, maybe he never has been, but I just really hope he's not in his head about this matchup.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to kill him.
I'm going to take Buffalo. 27-24 Bills.
Okay. I'm going to go 28-24 Chiefs. I hate to do it, but like it's right there. It's right there, unfortunately. Yeah, it pisses me off the Chiefs going to get back. Okay, before we go to the coaching stuff, I'm going to be watching the clock on this discussion because I know we could go for a while. There's been a lot of discourse about which one was worse, the Patriots dynasty or the Chiefs dynasty. First of all, I don't think we talked about the fact at all that the Chiefs are a dynasty. Nobody has really said that, but they obviously are. They obviously are. But like, let's not have recency bias here. The Patriots dynasty was 10 times worse than this. 10 times worse than the Chiefs. In my opinion. I think you're probably in the same boat. They kind of fucked you guys over. Really?
No.
I think the Patriots dynasty is way less likable than the Chiefs.
I think I
in the moment, take yourself back to the years where you were dealing with Tom Brady in the AFC every year.
I mean, yeah, but like if I'm comparing it to like what the Chiefs are now, the Chiefs are like really fucking annoying. I feel like the Patriots were more respectable about their business. Yes, they were.
I don't think so.
They had an actual leader at quarterback, not a whiny bitch like Patrick Mahomes.
No. Okay, don't do that with Patrick Mahomes. He tries to play. He tries to play the penalties and shit. He can, but like that's the game right now. Until they do something about it.
But then he's going up to Josh Allen after he loses the game, and no good game, no nothing. Oh, that's the worst fucking officiating I've ever seen, and like doesn't even look him in the eye.
Yeah, that is bullshit. I agree, but like, also don't act like Tom wasn't like villainized the whole time as well.
He was, but I think Patrick Mahomes is more villainizable.
I don't know. I still think he'll end up being top 2 ever.
Oh, I'm sure. Definitely. But then again, like going back to it with the Patriots, you had like Spygate, the Jesse James.
So I'm saying they were just cheating.
Really affected me. Yeah. I don't know.
That's my thing with the Patriots is like, to me, there was no redeeming quality. There wasn't. Like, yeah, like there was no redeeming quality. Everybody knew Brady was the best, and he kicked everybody's ass, and that was that. And, like, Belichick was what he is, a great thing. And I think you can't really hate on either of the coaches in these dynasties. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, they just do their thing. They were already well-established guys when they got the jobs. Belichick wasn't maybe in the best standing in general, but they were well-established guys. But, like, I think, and this might sound crazy, I think the fame of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and like the players surrounding this team almost help them. Because the brand of the Kansas City Chiefs itself on a national level past like football fans is loved. because of Travis Kelce and, Taylor Swift, and then Patrick Mahomes and his public life. Nobody liked the brand of the Patriots. They were the evil empire. That was the whole thing the whole time. And the Chiefs just are not that yet. Like, everybody roots against them because that's what you do to the teams that are perennially the best. Is you hope that they're not. But you also, can't knock what the Chiefs are doing. And they're not cheating. That's my biggest problem, is that the Patriots cheated on multiple occasions.
Yeah, I guess when I think of evil empire, obviously, you have the word evil in there, which means that it's not good, right?
Yeah.
But evil empire, I think of more as going about their way, business. We're the best. It's all business. Leave it out on the field. Take care of business, right? The Chiefs are, they take care of business, but they're so loud about it.
But that's the league now.
That's another good point. Is the league is just kind of there now.
Tyreek Hill openly said he's done with Miami at the end of the season after a horrible year. You can the best way to get things done is to be loud about it now, because everybody will talk about it. But the Patriots were quiet about things. They did their business behind closed doors, whatever you want to say, because the league and the fandom of the league wasn't really there for the headlines. Now it is. It's all about the social media.
My point being is the loudness is really annoying compared to the team that's quiet, even if the team is cheating.
But I think the problem is everybody now is loud.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest difference. All right, we'll cut it off there. But, yeah, I've just been seeing a lot of discourse about that on social media. Okay, let's move on to some NFL coaching stuff. A lot of moves have happened, some very big ones, some big hirings at head coach in particular. So we'll start off with the Bears. Bears hire Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson to be their new head coach. And yeah, it makes sense. It just seems right for Ben Johnson to kind of go into one of the few positions where you have a quarterback with an upside. You go to one of the few positions where there's certainly the weapons all over the field, where even if the quarterback isn't that good, you could still be pretty successful. And you also have a GM who has proven that he can go out and make moves to acquire good talent. So I think Ben Johnson walks into probably the best situation you could find out of any of the head coaching jobs, except for the fact that it's the Bears. That's the part that holds you back.
It's, not only that, it's also a tough fan base.
It is. And a tough division. He's been in it.
and a tough division. Yeah, like you said, all the weapons are there for him. I think he's probably going to be the one to... he has to be the one that can utilize all those weapons. I think probably getting him a better running back would probably be something I would look into. And Keenan Allen is a free agent this year. I don't know if you really need to bring him back.
No.
But if you did, I think that'd be great. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to lose him either.
I think you could use that money somewhere else. You could go out, sign a center maybe. Work on the offensive line, work on the defense with the money you would be paying Keenan Allen, because DJ Moore and Rome Odunze is not a bad wide receiver room whatsoever. And then you still have Cole Kmet at tight end, who's great. He just can't get involved when there's that many other targets.
That is true.
The other big hiring, the Jets hire Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn to be their head coach. Now, Aaron Glenn, big connection to the Jets. He was drafted by them. I'm not sure when he came out. I think 2000 or something, maybe before that. But the big thing people are talking about here with Aaron Glenn is that the Jets have now hired 7 head coaches since the end of the 2000 season. And now with Aaron Glenn, 6 of them have been first-time head coaches with defensive backgrounds. and it still hasn't worked. So who's to say this one will? You have hired Herm Edwards, Eric Mangini, Rex Ryan, Todd Bowles, Robert Saleh, and now Aaron Glenn. The only exception to a first-time head coach with a defensive background is Adam Gase. That is not an exception to anything because he's just dog shit. He's like one of the worst attempts at being a head coach ever when he got to the Jets. Like,
Rex Ryan was good, though.
yes, Rex Ryan was good. Everybody else bad. Rex Ryan, and like, Rex won a couple things quickly and then quickly fell off as well.
Yeah.
It's
true.
just, I don't know. It starts to look a little bit more like a franchise problem than anything, especially when you consider that Todd Bowles went elsewhere, got a job. Robert Saleh will probably get hired. He'll probably find a new head coaching job very soon, if not this summer or this offseason. So, yeah, Aaron Glenn could be the guy. He's going to have to hire really well if he wants something to happen in New York.
Yep.
Because that was one thing I do think Robert Saleh fell short on. His hirings were not great, primarily Nathaniel Hackett. But like, yeah, I think there was just a lot of things he missed out on, and then like the talent acquisition wasn't necessarily there. Once after you got Rodgers, I don't know if they necessarily handled things the best. I think they went a little bit too much in Rodgers' interests and not the best interests of a football team.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's kind of up to debate. Other big news, Bucs offense coordinator Liam Cohen took himself out of the running for the Jaguars job and accepted a new contract with Tampa, which is going to make him one of the highest paid coordinators in the league. I love that.
Good for him.
You do not want to go to the Jags. The funny thing is, a couple hours later, after that news breaks, the Jaguars fired GM Trey Baalke. If they would have just fired him at the start of the offseason, they would have been in the Ben Johnson sweepstakes. They would have been interviewing much better head coaching candidates than what they got. Because you have Trevor Lawrence. You have a number of key contributors on defense that will get things done. You have young running backs that people are excited about. There is a lot of stuff to work with in Jacksonville. Brian Thomas Jr. as well. You have a lot to work with there. But when you have a shit GM, why would you want to take that job? So now they've let three of the best options, because Vrabel got hired too, three of the best options go, and now you fire the GM. Now you got to search for a GM and a head coach, and you're like a month behind everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, they really screwed themselves with how they've handled this so far.
Just poverty.
Yeah, really bad. Bengals hired the Notre Dame defensive coordinator Al Golden to be the Bengals' new defensive coordinator, replacing Lou Anarumo. Al Golden was their linebackers coach 2020 and 2021, so just kind of a natural fit there. I think it was a good hire. Patriots hired...
Get him some players to work with.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're right.
A lot of no names over there.
Definitely. Patriots hired defensive line coach from the Lions, Terrell Williams, to be their defensive coordinator. He's been around the league for a long time as an assistant. I think he was he was a assistant head coach for the Lions as well. So he joins Vrabel's staff. And if Vrabel's hiring you as a DC, he clearly has some high respect for you. And then his offensive coordinator, guy who's very familiar to New England, Josh McDaniels, is back for the third time. Third time hiring Josh McDaniels as offensive coordinator for the Patriots. We'll see if this time goes any better. I don't know.
I like that.
He's a good OC. He just cannot be a head coach. And considering the first time he did it, he cheated, and the second time he did it, his team was ass.
Yeah.
So that's just how that's going to go. Final thing, the Raiders hired Bucs assistant GM John Spytek to be their new GM. I like it. Spytek's been around for a long time. And he was, so fun fact, which this is like going to make things so obvious of why the Raiders hired him. He played with Tom Brady at Michigan in 1999. So they were teammates at Michigan. And then Spytek was with the Buccaneers from 2016 till now, and was I believe the director of player personnel when the Bucs won the Super Bowl with Brady.
That's fantastic move
Yeah.
for Vegas, because I mean that Buccaneers team like brought in so much talent so fast, but then even after Brady, like getting Baker,
Yep.
drafting guys like Bucky Irving, just they've done so well to maintain that talent. So I think it'll be cool to see what he does for the Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, what a great last name. Spytech. That's awesome.
Yeah, a little bit fishy.
Yeah. Should have worked for the Patriots.
High tech. Yeah.
I don't think any other coaching news has happened. So I think we'll wrap it up there and head over to the MLB. Got a couple of things to talk about with the MLB. Not too much, but we did have one of the top free agents that was remaining get off the board. Blue Jays signed Anthony Santander to a 5-year, $92.5 million deal. Yeah, this
Damn.
yeah. Oh yeah, he got paid. He got paid.
Wow.
5 years, 92 and a half.
Damn.
And
I
look,
remember you texted me that he signed, but I didn't think it was going to be big money like
oh
that.
yeah, yeah.
Shit, that's
Santander was one of the guys who, like, a lot of people thought, yeah, somebody will probably take a gamble on him and give him some good money. And I think, to me, that's like right in the ballpark for what I'd be looking for him. I didn't think he'd eclipse 100. He's not necessarily at that level. But like when you look at the stats, you know, he's up there in age. He's already 30. And he's been in the league for 8 years now. Last year, he really broke out. But, like, if you go back along the years, mainly back to 2022, 89 RBIs, 2022 with 33 homers, 2023, 95 RBIs, 28 home runs. He also hit 41 doubles in 2023. 2024, All-Star, 14th in MVP voting, Silver Slugger, 102 RBIs, 44 home runs, 25 doubles, and he had an on-base percentage over 300. OPS 814 is unreal for the kind of year he had, especially when you look at how much of a dip he took in batting average. For him to still go up and have a career high, almost outside of 2020, career high slugging percentage. It was such a fantastic 2 years in a row, really, for Anthony Santander, but 3 years in a row when you're looking at why you would want to pay him for the next 5 years. So I like it. I think there's tremendous upside, at least in the early couple years of this deal for the Blue Jays. It's just, are they going to give him anything to work with? Like, is he even going to make the playoffs at all in the next 5 years? That's the biggest question mark with the Blue Jays.
It is, because, like, I don't know. I think Anthony Santander definitely adds a much needed talent to that team. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I just don't know if he's the guy that would be like enough.
No, he's not.
Really move the needle for that.
But
team.
Also, like, there's very few teams that are a corner outfielder / DH away from a World Series. Like, that's just not really a thing. And I feel like, yes, Santander puts him in a great position. He can be the 3-hole, 4-hole, 5-hole hitter for this team. But who's the 1, the 2, the 6, 7? Like, who are those guys going to be?
Yeah.
Because Bichette already said he's not anticipating re-signing at the end of this next season. Vlad.
That's big.
Yeah, Vlad is probably going to get traded probably mid-season if I had to guess. I know he's kind of a big player to be traded mid-season, but I think he will if they're not in a position to win. Or he'll leave at the end of this year. Like, the centerpieces of this franchise are quickly leaving, and it's not good because you've put a significant investment into pitching, and it still hasn't worked out for you.
Yeah. So I guess what you're trying to tell me is that Anthony Santander in about 3 years will be the Brent Rooker of the Blue Jays. AKA the only talent on the team.
Maybe. They've got a good farm system. So you could see some guys come up, and it's a relatively attractive free agent destination, I'd say. Like, they've been able to pull in some guys in the past. Like, even recently, when you go back a few off seasons and you're like, okay, they brought in a George Springer who was coming off of a World Series, I think. You brought in Matt Chapman. You brought in, like, Marcus Semien was coming off of some career years in Oakland that they brought in. Like, it's a place that tends to go out and get some pretty good free agents. Kevin Gausman was at like an all-time high when he came in. Like, number of guys that they've brought in that are in good spots. So like, it's a team that can go out and do it, but it never falls into place at the same time. Another big signing. It's not necessarily big, I would say. Paul Sewald got picked up by the Guardians. 1 year, $7 million, pretty standard veteran reliever payment. But like, this is an 8-year guy who has experience across the league. We obviously all remember the deep playoff run with Arizona, where he was the closer. He was unbelievable when he got traded from Seattle to Arizona in 2023, and then was phenomenal for them, locked down all the way through the playoffs, except for a couple small moments in that World Series. They ended up making the difference. But like, Paul Sewald's a great player. The Guardians need to kind of just make small moves. You have the groundwork is there. You just made the ALCS. The groundwork is definitely there. You just kind of got to clean things up. And I think Sewald offers you a good, 7th inning, 8th inning reliever to set up Clase. And it gives you a veteran presence in what is a pretty young lineup through and through.
Yeah, I like it. Man, you and I remember he had us in knots during that playoff run until it got to the finals.
Yeah,
the championship, he kind of fell apart. But
definitely,
yeah, amazing pitcher for sure.
Yeah, we've got a move here that's not necessarily confirmed, but it's reported to be like right there, which is Kirby Yates going to the Dodgers. Of course, if I say a name that's a free agent and I say guess a team, the first team you say should be Dodgers because they're getting everybody. Like,
yeah,
how did they manage to go out and get multiple top free agents at like every spot imaginable? They went out and got the top 2 international guys coming over in Hyeseong Kim and Roki Sasaki. They went out and got Teoscar Hernandez to come back to them. They went out and said, hey, Tanner Scott, you were really good last year. Let's bring you in. He's been good for like 3 years. Let's bring you in. Let's get Kirby Yates. Let's get like all these little different pieces from all over the place to continue to have the biggest payroll in baseball. And not only that, they just won a World Series. The Dodgers realized last year that if they spend a lot of money, they can win a World Series. So they kept doing it, and now they're spending more. It's insane. I saw you just your jaw dropped. What'd you see?
I was looking at just MLB News tracking every team's offseason moves, and I didn't realize that Jose Trevino was a Red.
Yeah.
Now.
Yep. That happened early. It was a trade, I think.
Yeah, but I was trying to find all of the acquisitions that the Dodgers have made, and it's just like it's so stupid, dude.
It's unbelievable.
Like, all of these players are just so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, they lost Gavin Lux and Walker Buehler.
Which,
of course.
Yeah, they traded Gavin Lux, which made sense, and Walker Buehler obviously was going to leave. But they also brought in Blake Snell, who I didn't even mention.
They brought in Giovanni Gallegos on a minor league deal.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that guy.
That's a good one to just sleep on, that I'm sure he'll just get pulled up and be lights out for them. Let's talk about a couple of rumors here. Looks like for the Cardinals, trading Arenado is still the top priority this offseason. So, like, it seems like they really want to commit to this rebuild, and it's hard to commit to a rebuild when you still have a veteran making a lot of money who's not necessarily producing at the level you want him to. They really want Arenado off the books. Red Sox seem to be the only team that's really interested or in that lane to get him. But apparently they're not even really sold on if Arenado's good enough for what you would inherit with him, being the contract and what St. Louis is offering.
Why do I feel like Nolan Arenado and the free agency this year it's like people are afraid that they're going to get Justin Turner or something like that. Like, I don't know. I feel like Nolan Arenado is such like a no-brainer. but then again, maybe I'm like sounding like a casual baseball fan. I think he's fantastic.
He's still very
I
good.
just
He's just getting paid a
there's just
lot
so
of money.
many. Is that where like the hesitancy is
Yeah,
coming from?
I think so at
Is that
least.
it?
I would assume that the hesitancy is that the offensive numbers steep decline over the last couple of years. The defensive numbers are still there, but they're not the same. And he's still getting paid a lot of money, and he's like mid-30s.
Yeah.
It doesn't
I
look
don't
like
know.
you're going to get a better version of Arenado right now,
Yeah.
which sucks. I
That is
just
true.
bought one of his jerseys.
Did you really?
Yeah, I bought so Dick's Sporting Goods had like a bunch of the old, because they're like switching the MLB jerseys again. They put a bunch of the last year's jerseys up on sale for like, I think I paid like $45 a piece. So I got a red Acuna jersey and I got a powder blue Cardinals Arenado jersey.
I remember we were texting about those deals that had gone up on Dick's, and when I went to check the Yankees stuff, all of my sizes were sold out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, there was an away Derek Jeter one for that same like $45
Really?
deal, and that was the one that wasn't in my size. I was so pissed off
Wow.
because I really want an away jersey, but I didn't get my hands on it.
Whatever.
Did you like my Justin Turner
Yes.
comparison there?
Yeah.
Did that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense because Justin Turner is bad. Very
Yeah.
bad. Strikes out a lot.
Okay.
Let's kind of move on here to Profar. He's starting to get a little bit of interest now, especially with Santander out of the picture. Profar is definitely the next outfielder up to be signed. He will get signed for sure. The thing is he's a 31-year-old who just now had his best career year ever. Like, it doesn't look, the upside doesn't look great for Jurickson Profar, but he's getting some interest from Houston to fill Kyle Tucker's spot in corner outfield. Doesn't seem like anybody really wants him in center field. I still don't know why the Braves aren't in, because Ronald Acuna's not going to be ready for a while. And we could use somebody to throw in right field and bat near the top of the lineup.
Dude.
I think Profar would do that.
I would lose my mind if I got to see Profar play in person.
He's great.
I like him.
Fun to watch.
I like him a lot.
Very fun.
Yeah.
And also, he's Curaçaoan, which is like a natural link to the Braves. It makes too much sense, I'll be honest. But doesn't seem like we're interested, which doesn't make sense. I don't know. Alex Anthopoulos is definitely making me question some things this offseason. I'm not questioning him. I'm just questioning the status of the Braves right now and what our real approach is at the moment. That's all.
That's fair.
Last thing, before we talk about the Hall of Famers, the Twins have emerged as a team that wants to trade for Dylan Cease. It does seem kind of crazy.
Is Dylan Cease finally gonna leave?
Yeah,
Never mind. He already left.
Yeah, he already left. That's the weird part about this. But he's been like the hottest topic for the trade market since Crochet went off, and it seems like the Padres ran themselves into an issue of enough people are leaving now in that lineup that like they have to improve things on the offensive side, and Cease is just making too much money. He looked amazing last year, but he's just making too much money for them to really be able to handle that and address their needs. So it seems like right now that the Padres are looking to improve behind the plate because they lost Kyle Higashioka this offseason. And the Twins are looking to bolster their rotation a little bit more. It looks like the Padres think that Christian Vasquez would be an upgrade over Luis Campusano behind the plate. I definitely agree. Christian Vasquez is a great glove, even at his age. So I do agree it would be good. You probably, if you're the Padres, hope you get a prospect out of it as well, like a pretty good prospect in the Twins organization. But yeah, I could see some upside on both of these sides to make this deal happen. I don't know if the Padres necessarily have to have elite starting pitching like Dylan Cease right now to still be competitive.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm trying to. Who have the Padres lost? Ha-Seong Kim.
Yeah, Ha-Seong Kim,
right?
Kyle Higashioka,
Profar.
Snell Well, Snell was 2 off seasons ago, I guess, because he was on the Giants last year. Profar.
Yeah.
I want to say there was another.
Donovan Solano.
Oh, maybe. Oh, and they also might trade Arias. That was the other one that they
Oh,
may be
yeah.
losing.
I've been hearing about that for a while.
Yeah. He's always going to be a guy that teams are open to trading. Because, like, yeah, he hits singles, and that's it. He just hits singles. And he plays pretty good second base.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Padres are just in a weird spot. They're definitely spending too much money for what this team probably will be next year, which I don't think is all that great. But we'll have to see.
It definitely won't be exciting as it was last year. Last year was so exciting to watch them.
Yeah. Okay, that is all for the off-season stuff. Let's talk a little bit about our new Hall of Famers. I'm excited because we're finally to an era of the Hall of Fame where like I really got to see these guys play.
Yeah.
Not as much for this first guy, but like I finally got to really experience a lot of these guys. You know, maybe not at their peak, but for a good number of years. We'll start off with Ichiro, elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame, first year on the ballot, 99.7% of the votes, same exact percentage as Jeter, 1 vote short of unanimous. So him and Jeter tied for second.
Step up
For the biggest vote share. I don't know. I do think it should be public, and people are welcome to post their ballots. It's just some people don't. But yeah, the amazing thing about Ichiro is that his MLB career started at 27 years old, and he still played 19 seasons.
Yeah.
That's like unbelievable. He played till he was 45.
Oh, dude.
He accumulated over 3,000 hits in the major leagues. Like, it's unreal.
Yeah, I remember when he, crawled his way to New York. He was an old Yankee, like a very old New York Yankee. It was so fun to have him on the team because I've always loved Ichiro. If you're going to be, confident enough to say no to Ichiro, at least stand on your business. I can't get over that he, out of all people, isn't unanimous.
Yeah, I think the only thing I could think that somebody wouldn't vote for him, racist, maybe, could be the first part. First Japanese-born player to make the Hall of Fame. I'll note that as well.
Really?
Yeah. He was kind of the first big Japanese player to get here.
So that was my next question. Was there anybody before Ichiro, or was Ichiro kind of the pioneer?
Ichiro definitely put him on. I think there was guys coming over, but Ichiro definitely started the idea of like an older guy. Like he played 9 years in the NPB.
Yeah,
he had over 1,000 hits. I think over 1,500 hits in the NPB before he came over here.
God. So he would have been a teenager when he started there.
Yeah. A lot of times they are teenagers. They typically start straight out of high school in the NPB if you're a really good player.
Wow.
Yeah, like Roki Sasaki, I think played 5 seasons in the NPB. He's only 23.
Damn.
But Ichiro, when he came over, was kind of the first one that like saw the immediate success and kept going. This guy made the All-Star game 10 straight years to start his career. He won MVP his rookie year. Never won MVP again, which I think is kind of crazy. But received MVP votes, so at least was top 25 in the MVP every single year until 2011. All but 1 year until 2011. 2005, he didn't. Led the league in batting average twice. He led the league in intentional walks a couple times, which is kind of crazy.
What?
But it's because he just hit the ball so well. You almost wanted to walk him so that somebody that would strike out would come up.
But then you have Ichiro on base.
Yeah, that is a problem.
Can't be fun either.
He was also just like always played like every game, which I thought was outstanding. Like he played 162 like 4 times. Played 161 another like 4 times as well. Is insane.
Wow.
Yeah, it's such a legend. Such a legend.
I think Ichiro in his prime could give you 4 solid innings of pitching from center field.
Dude, he's got an incredible arm for his size. Yeah,
Like,
we didn't even talk about
power
his
and
glove.
accuracy.
He also won a Gold Glove every single year for the first 10 years of his career.
It's ridiculous.
Unreal.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, Ichiro Suzuki, genuine. Like, I think he's definitely not like. I probably wouldn't put him like top 5 all-time MLB players, but if you're talking about baseball, when you factor in the 9 seasons in the MPBs, probably the greatest baseball player of all time.
Wow.
I would say when you look at dude, he played from like 19 until 45 years old and was never bad. He was just old at the end. Like, he only had 3 seasons in the MLB with negative WAR. One of them was 2015, which was just kind of an anomaly for him. Like, how bad he was actually surprising. But, like, 2017, 2018 was when you saw, like, the age really hit him. And, like, 2018, he played 15 games. Like, that shouldn't even count.
Yeah.
And, like, 2019, he played 2 games and then retired. Like, it's just those couple of years, people have their qualms or whatever. But, like, the fact that he joined the league at the time when, like, or not joined the league, but he made it to the league at 27 years old, which is like, he's like 3 years behind most guys, 4 years, 5 years behind some guys. Coming in at 27, it still accumulated 60 B-WAR in his career.
Wow.
Unbelievable player. We'll move on from him, though, and talk about CC Sabathia, who, like, it seems the thing to say about CC Sabathia, and everybody said it, workhorse. He was a workhorse pitcher his entire career. Like, some numbers that just simply won't happen anymore by pitchers. He got 86.8% of votes on the ballot. First year on the ballot as well. CC was just awesome. Just absolutely awesome. He started 560 games in his career, 19-year career for him as well, from age 20 to 38. This guy, a one-time Cy Young winner, 2-time Cy Young finalist, a 5-time top 5 in Cy Young. Just unbelievable pitcher. Really unbelievable. I think he had quite a few strikeouts. I always struggle to find it sometimes on Baseball Reference. Yeah, over 3,000 strikeouts. Yeah. Just kind of the last of like a dying breed when you look at like these high innings pitched, high strikeouts, not necessarily like crazy velocity, just like went out there and did his job kind of pitcher. I think he's like the last of those guys being the elite pitchers in the league. I love CC Sabathia. He is awesome. Yeah. Super fun
guy
player.
Who stood on business, literally played until he couldn't throw anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and like he still threw 107 innings in that final season in New York.
Damn. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Now he was 5-8. And had a 4.95 ERA, which was a career worst. 2014 was his career worst. Second worst. But like, no, CC Sabathia, one of the best. One of the best. Actually finished 6th in MVP voting in 2008. 5th in Cy Young, though.
Wow.
That makes 0 sense. 5th in Cy Young, 6th in MVP. And the last one is Billy Wagner, who got voted in his 10th and final year on the ballot. I've been waiting for Billy Wagner to make it in. He spent his final season in the league with Atlanta and was an all-star, by the way. Primarily known for his time in Houston, I would say, and then just did like a tour of the NL East, Philly, New York, went to Boston for half a season, and then finished out in Atlanta and as an all-star in his final season. Kind of the first of the modern closer, if you will. Started out in 95, but he was one of the early guys that was just like throw hard, don't give up hits, strike people out. Closers just didn't do that. Like the hard throwing closer was not a thing. Now it's the only way you are a closer. pretty much. Obviously the
Yeah,
Kenley Jansens of the world are the exception, but like Clase, Doval, obviously Doval was not very good last
Batman.
year, but like Iglesias, any closer you go around the league and name, pretty much it's going to tap 100. Um, it's just how it goes, and Billy Wagner was definitely the start of that. Much respect
Yeah.
to Billy Wagner. I think he's awesome.
Really fun about him. His 2010 season with Atlanta, as you mentioned, being his last, was kind of like an outlier season. Like it was weirdly probably one of his best seasons, coming off of 2 seasons where he, I guess, was hurt or didn't really get that much playing time. Like,
2009 was
and
split between New York and Boston, but he was just not that good in 2009. Across the
yeah,
board. 2008 and 2007, he was pretty good. Just didn't play a ton. He was an all-star, though.
He had more innings pitched in his entire career. Or actually, no. Sorry, third most innings pitched in his entire career, I believe, with Atlanta. Just like a
Yeah.
really weird season.
Yeah, it is his third highest. Fourth highest.
Yeah.
2003, 2005, 2006 were the top three.
Really low ERA, too.
Yeah. Oh, I missed 1999 as well. Doesn't matter. Still just very interesting to be 38 years old and pitching some of your best baseball of your career and then retire.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. Also, really, really embarrassing video of him getting the call. Somebody should have told him not to stand like this. So he was like sitting up. He was wearing khakis, sitting up kind of on a pool table. And it kind of pulled the khakis from the back on the bottom and just really highlighted his dick and balls. Like bad. Really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. There's no better way.
Yeah. It's
Man, I gotta find this video.
It's like the worst. Because it's also like, dude, I don't want to see you crying and also like your balls. It was
oh my god.
It was bad.
It looks
dude.
like he has a fanny pack on
dude,
under his
that's what I'm
khakis.
saying. He got done dirty. Somebody should have been like, dude, stand up. Get off that fucking table.
Oh, that's the Wagner package right there.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Unfortunate for Billy Wagner to have like
They
the
might have to
greatest day of
separately
his
induct-
life.
Yeah, they might have to separately induct that package into the Hall of Fame with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can bring that in there. Damn.
Yeah. Make a bust for it.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame bust for Billy Wagner's balls.
And you said, did you say it was his last chance that he had to get into the Hall of Fame?
10th year on the ballot. People, I'm pissed that didn't make it. The list starts and ends with Andrew Jones. Still hasn't made it. 8th year on the ballot. Still hasn't made it. Not looking good. I think he was at 68%. You need 75% to make it in. But I think he'll end up maybe like a Bobby Wagner, make it in on the final year.
Yeah. They got to have something against Andrew Jones.
It's crazy. Absolutely
it's just
insane.
ridiculous.
There was like some claims after his career of domestic violence that I think came up that a lot of people don't talk about with Andrew Jones. And is something that the Baseball Writers Association really does care about, is things that you do after your career off the field. Definitely causes you some issues.
Yeah.
Ask Omar Vizquel. Ruined his chances.
Actually, not even Pete Rose.
Pete Rose was definitely during. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wrap up the baseball talk and head over to the Premier League. We got, like we said, a big week for the table this past weekend, and some good matchups here. Not necessarily like, the exact top of the table, but some very good matchups that are important for standings in the table. And we'll start that off with Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, obviously, still third in the table. They had the big draw with Liverpool. They get the win over Southampton, and especially with Aston Villa and Arsenal drawing last weekend. Nottingham Forest brings themselves tied with Arsenal on points at 44. Now, both of them still 6 points behind Liverpool, who still has a game in hand. They still haven't played that makeup game with Everton.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah. They still haven't made up that
Okay,
game with Everton.
because the whole season they've always had games that have been played more than them. I explained that in a very roundabout way. I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
it's fine.
Liverpool has always had a game in hand over
Yes.
everybody.
Yeah, but
So,
Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth, 7th in the table, on some pretty good form like we've been talking about, and they're certainly coming off a result they liked, 4-1 over Newcastle, which was it floored me. I was so surprised that we just got absolutely dicked down like that. It's kind of crazy. But a fantastic result for Bournemouth nonetheless. And they find themselves in 7th, and a win here would be huge, especially when Man City find themselves in 6th place. Big matchup versus Chelsea that we'll talk about next. But you're only a point shy of them. You're 3 points shy of Chelsea. So both of those teams you have the potential of either passing or catching up to. This is a huge spot for Bournemouth and for Nottingham Forest. You're just trying to keep yourselves in the race with Liverpool and Arsenal.
yeah. I don't know. I think Bournemouth and their defense could make things very interesting, but then again, Nottingham Forest and their defense can make things very interesting. And I think the difference for me is Nottingham Forest on top of their defense. Chris Wood can bang in some goals.
Yeah.
And some of those other guys can bang in some goals with him. And maybe Bournemouth can't really keep up with that no matter how good their defense is going to be. It's just, I think the mismatch is Bournemouth's attackers versus Nottingham Forest defense. I don't really see that going very well for Bournemouth, but who knows? I mean, Nottingham Forest kind of coming off of a little bit of a worrisome result, 3-2 against Southampton. Not what you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Not what you want to see if you're Nottingham Forest. So, to go ahead and give a score prediction here, I think I'm going to go 1-1 draw.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like with Bournemouth, you talked about how they really don't have the best offense. Like they beat Newcastle, and it was a Patrick Kluivert hat trick, and then a 90th +6 goal from Kirkes. That's kind of an anomaly performance out of that attack. You're really not going to see that attack put up numbers like that often. And it's also, I will point this out. They didn't score any penalties against Newcastle, but Bournemouth does earn the most penalties in the Premier League. They've already earned 7 penalties this season. So that is something to be on the lookout for Bournemouth is potential penalty goals. But to me, I think Nottingham Forest is the no-brainer. 9 clean sheets in the Premier League this season. And I think Bournemouth putting up 4 goals last week is actually a bad sign for their offense because I think they exhausted their luck there. I'm going to take Nottingham Forest 1-0.
I like it. And now that I'm looking at it, Bournemouth actually has more goals than Nottingham Forest on the year.
Yes, they do.
And their goal difference is only 1. Between each other. So that's, you said 9 clean sheets too?
Yep.
I wonder where all those goals conceded came from for Nottingham Forest. But
they lost 3-0 to Man City, 3-0 to Arsenal, 3-1 to Newcastle. That probably did it. Those 3 games is 9 of those goals they allowed.
Yeah.
But yeah, our next match, Man City versus Chelsea, big one. Chelsea, 4th in the table, not on great form, but starting to bounce back. They had 2 straight draws to get the win over Wolves. Manchester City finally finding a little bit of good form, but it's also been against the worst teams in the league. Is how they're finding this good form. In their last 5, they've gone draw, win, draw, win, but that was against Everton, Leicester, West Ham, Brentford, and Ipswich. So, yeah. They literally played 3 of the teams that are in the relegation zone in that run. Or sorry, 2 of the teams in the relegation zone in that span. Chelsea, on the other hand, also not necessarily playing the top of the table right now and not finding the results they're looking for. What are you thinking right now with this matchup? It's kind of tough to read.
I'm thinking that if Chelsea was a solid, good team, we would definitely take advantage of a team like Man City who, like you said, only finding form against bad teams and coming off of a brutal Champions League loss to PSG. What did you just see? What happened?
You know how I was saying that Jurgen Profar wasn't there was a team not showing interest in Jurickson Profar.
Is he coming to Atlanta?
Jurickson Profar to the Braves.
Oh, I got to catch a game this year. Let's
3
go.
years, $42 million. Was not expecting a 3-year deal for Jurickson Profar, but I think the idea is that he's going to just be the full-time left fielder. Even when Ronald's back. Wow. Was not expecting that.
Curacao legacy, baby.
Let's go. Alex Anthopoulos. I'm not questioning anything. I'm back. I'm fucking back.
So you're happy with that?
Colin, please order your Jurickson Profar jersey right now. I need to see Colin in a Jurickson Profar jersey. I'm back. I'm so back.
I got you. So, yeah, I don't know. You brought up the great point where both of these teams are finding themselves in a very, similar situation.
Yeah.
I just feel like Chelsea has a lot less pressure than Man City do.
Definitely.
And I think a lot of the pressure that's on Man City is kind of self-inflicted. I feel like they're the ones who put most of the pressure on themselves, not kind of like their fans or regular, soccer fans who expect things out of them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of it is like within the team and within the locker room. So I'm kind of feeling like Chelsea can take advantage off of that. That PSG loss that Man City took was brutal. I'm going to take Chelsea 2-1.
Yeah, I think to me, it feels like these two teams coming up against each other right now it just like lines up to be a shit show. They've both been playing lower quality opponents, and yes, they're both coming into this match with a win. They could both really use a win for sure. I don't know. I'm looking at like a 1-1 draw. I don't know if we're gonna get our best out of these two.
Okay.
Our final match that we're going to talk about is Crystal Palace and Brentford, which I'm so glad you picked this game because it was one that I was like, I'm thinking about it, but I'll give him one to choose, and we were in sync here. Brentford's 11th in the table, and Crystal Palace got a huge jump here, and I think we might have talked about it last week. Crystal Palace is on fantastic form. They're now 12th in the table with 27 points. And they got a win last week against West Ham. I do think I brought this up. I think I remember talking about this. Crystal Palace did exactly what they needed to do, which was beat West Ham. Well, Manchester United lost to Brighton, and Tottenham fucking lost to Everton somehow. And so Crystal Palace did exactly what I said they could, which was jump all three of them in the table. And now they find themselves in 12th place. Crystal Palace is on fantastic form, like you just said. In their last 5, you go draw with Bournemouth, which certainly doesn't look too bad. A win over Southampton, a draw with Chelsea is fantastic, and a win over Leicester and a win over a win over West Ham. You're doing exactly what you need to do right now if you're Crystal Palace. Shit, a couple more wins and you'll fully avoid relegation. Like that's how far we are into this season. There's only like 14 matches left. You put in a few more wins, it's done and dusted.
Yeah.
And Brentford have been weird all year. We talked about it. Like they're as middle of the pack as it gets, and in the last 5 really proves that. They draw with Brighton, who's a pretty middle tier team right now. You lose to Arsenal, you beat Southampton, you draw with Man City, who certainly wasn't playing well, and then now you lose to Liverpool. It's just what Brentford probably should be doing in all these matches. But Crystal Palace is on fantastic form, and it's hard to say that they won't at least give them a shot.
Yeah. Oh my God. Do you know who Crystal Palace has on their team?
Not much.
Nathaniel Klein.
Yes, I did know Nathaniel Klein was there. Is
remember
Theo Walcott there this
Nathaniel
season?
Klein. No, I think Walcott's retired.
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Maybe, man. I thought I remember Theo Walcott making a move sometime this offseason. Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
The Arsenal reject Edward Nikita.
No, that's not who I was thinking of.
Nketiah. Sorry, Nketiah. Yeah. That was bad on my part.
I can't remember who it was. It was some winger. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Ashley Young?
Yes. That is who I was thinking of. I guess he's a left back, but whatever.
I got to do some research. I got to find out where Ashley Young is now. I'm sorry.
I think he's in the Premier League. I think he might be on like Ipswich or like Leicester?
Do you want to try again?
I was about to look it up. Everton.
Everton.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, he's
Very good.
been at Everton. I forgot about that. I think he's been there a
Yeah,
couple
only for
years.
2 years
Oh,
though.
okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But
I don't really care if I can't keep up with where Ashley Young is at.
yeah, it's not the most important player
Yeah,
to
back
keep
to
up with.
Brentford
But
Crystal Palace.
yeah, Crystal Palace, obviously a team, last season and moving into this season, we were really looking forward to. They had a really great team last season. Of
Yeah.
course, losing Elise doesn't help. But I thought keeping Ebrechi Eze was going to mean a lot more to this team than it kind of has.
Mm.
But he's been on fantastic form recently.
Yeah.
He's one of the when he's on, he's one of the most entertaining players to watch easily.
Yeah,
He is so entertaining.
And Crystal Palace finds themselves in a similar spot to the likes of, Brighton and like Fulham, and quite a few of these other teams that are just perennially somewhere from like 9 to 15, which is if you do have somebody that plays well, he's going to a better team in the summer. And
Yeah.
Crystal Palace has been one of those teams where they, every now and then somebody comes through and they they leave pretty quickly. They have great young talent a lot of the time, and it's gone just as quickly as it's there. And I think it bodes well when they're on good form because it shows like, okay, this is a great team. Obviously, you don't start thinking about the future, but you can think about right now. And I think right now, Crystal Palace is in way better form, in my opinion, than Brentford. I'm going to take Crystal Palace to win this one 2-1.
I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw.
All right. The rest of the matchups this week, you got Bournemouth Nottingham Forest starts off the weekend. It's one of the 10 o'clock games, nationally televised as well. And then you got Brighton, Everton, Liverpool, Ipswich, Southampton, Newcastle, Wolves, Arsenal. Then you got Man City, Chelsea standalone at 12:30. Not sure why they're not nationally televising that one. Sunday, you got Crystal Palace, Brentford, Spurs, Leicester, which will be nationally televised. And then Aston Villa, West Ham. And then Fulham, Manchester United playing it at 2 p.m., which you don't really see often, but it's on Sunday, and that one also nationally televised. And that's it for the Premier League. But we have the conclusion of the Champions League's first ever league stage this coming week. Last week, crazy games. Obviously, I don't want to go too in depth just because we have a lot to talk about with these games that are happening this weekend or this week. But Benfica Barcelona is a game where if you didn't watch the highlights from, please go back and do it. It was unbelievable. Same goes for PSG Man City. The collapse that Man City had in that game was unreal. I did love that we had some teams playing for nothing that won matches this week.
Yeah, I almost demanded that you watch the extended highlights of the Barcelona Benfica game.
It's fantastic.
Man, wouldn't you have just loved to have been in that stadium?
Yeah.
I mean, the Benfica fans were rocking. It's one of those games where, like, every time Benfica scores, just like to hear the crowd, it gives me goosebumps, not boost jumps.
Yeah, boost jumps, of course. Yeah, we had some crazy results.
Oh my goodness.
And some that some teams kept themselves alive. Some teams maybe eating themselves alive with these performances. Like you look at Leipzig and Sporting. Leipzig getting a win, they're already eliminated. That was the first points they've gotten. Was this win.
Yeah.
It's insane. And then you go down the list and it's like Inter barely escapes Sparta Praha. And then Feyenoord 3-0 over Bayern Munich. Bayern is in a horrible spot. They will move on, but they're not in a great spot. And Feyenoord is in a great spot. And we'll talk about their matchup because they've got a good one. But to kind of look at the table right now as we head into this final week of the league phase, Liverpool, Barcelona locked in, going straight to the round of 16. They can't drop out of the top 8. Arsenal would require an unreal turn of events to not go straight to the round of 16 with how they look at the table right now, because their goal differential is so good that there's no way all these ties could sort out. They just about they've got a plus 12 goal differential, so it'd be I'd be hard pressed to find a team like Aston Villa, Monaco, Feyenoord, Lille, or Brest that is going to make up at least 7 goals at the least of goal differential on Arsenal this week.
Yeah, a little bit of a task
Yeah,
there.
but like what I do love about this league phase is it is fucking close everywhere. Everywhere is close. You go from 9th to 27th. None of them have a spot locked in. None of them. So from 9th to 19th to 27th. My bad. 19th to 27th. Nobody is for sure moving on to the next round. 3 teams will be eliminated out of that batch. At the moment, those 3 teams that will be eliminated are Man City, Dinamo Zagreb, and Shakhtar.
Oh,
the teams that would stay alive.
City crash out.
PSV, Club Bruges, who just had a big draw last week to keep themselves in a good spot. Benfica, who's in a huge downturn. PSG, who has had 2 straight wins to just totally revive themselves of any hopes here. Sporting, who's on 3 straight losses. This was a team at the top of the top for multiple weeks. 3 straight losses. They're 23rd now. Only 24 teams move on. And then Stuttgart in the final spot. There is so much to look for there. You look through the teams with 13 points. Just the teams with 13 points goes from 8th to 13th place. If you look at the teams that could potentially make a jump into a straight to the round of 16, there is technically still teams like Club Bruges that could theoretically make that jump.
Yeah.
Now, it is unbelievably unlikely, potentially not possible, based on matchups, just off points, they could make it there. But Leverkusen is in 8th place right now with 13 points. And they are tied on points with Villa, Monaco, Feyenoord, Lille, and Brest, and only 1 point ahead of Dortmund, Bayern, Real Madrid, Juventus, and Celtic. This table
Milan really got their shit together.
Yeah, this table certainly sorts out to some ridiculous stuff that could happen here in this final week. Got a couple of big matchups that are pretty important, and it starts off with Stuttgart and PSG, which you wouldn't think a matchup between Stuttgart and PSG would be important, but PSG 22nd in the table, Stuttgart 24th, both of them on good form coming into these last 2 weeks. Now, Stuttgart's good form is against Young Boys and Bratislava, whereas PSG's good form is against Salzburg and Man City. So, you take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, but the loser of this match likely eliminated. When you look at the matchups that Man City, Dinamo Zagreb, and Shakhtar have, there's a good chance that whoever doesn't get points here out of that match is eliminated. Then you go to Juventus and Benfica. This one is huge as well. Juventus has already locked their spot in, but right now they're the first team in the unseeded groups of the knockout stage. So they're going to have to go on the road against one of the teams from 9 to 16 at the moment. If they get a win, you put themselves in an extremely good spot. You'll land in one of the seeded positions most likely. A loss for Juventus, and you're likely going to be in one of those unseeded spots, and a pretty low one as well. But luckily, it's unseeded, so it's all a draw to see who you'll play. Benfica, they're in 21st place, and a loss means that they probably don't make it out. Or if they do, they'll literally be right at the cusp of it, because 10 points is just not a great spot to be in right now. So that matchup, a big deal for sure. And then Lille versus Feyenoord is huge. 11th and 12th in the table. And they're both on 13 points. They're both on a 2-goal differential. These 2 teams could move around a ton in the table.
I have something from this game.
Okay.
Feyenoord supporters have been banned by French authorities from traveling to Lille for this game.
How does that work?
And it is because they whoever Feyenoord played on Wednesday, I think it was Bayern, right?
Yeah, 3-0.
You couldn't see the game. The ultras were rocking, and you can do that in your leagues. You cannot do that in the Champions League.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
that
Feyenoord,
is a big deal.
It is a big deal because Feyenoord supporters is kind of a shit term. Feyenoord have some really good fans, to say the least. So
Yeah, they're ridiculous. So yeah, that is a huge deal. But when you look at how the table could shake out, best case scenario, one of these teams could end up third, technically, by
yeah,
points. More realistically, one of these teams with a big win or a good win could get into fifth place, which is a huge jump. But a loss could land you into an unseeded spot. That's how big of a or how
wow.
close things are. A Juventus win and like if Juventus and Real Madrid, Dortmund, Bayern, like if those teams all get wins, Feyenoord or Lille could drop all the way down into one of those spots in those unseeded knockout stages, and you have to get a draw to see who you'll play. So a lot could really shake out across those matches, and they all start at the same time, 3:00 Eastern Standard Time. Everybody kicks off all the matches all at once, which is going to be such a blast to follow along with. Obviously, you do have, Bologna, Sparta Praha, Leipzig, Girona, Red Star, Sturm Graz, Salzburg, Bratislava, and Young Boys who are playing for literally nothing, which does kind of suck. But also, like, just because you're playing for nothing doesn't mean anything because, shit, Leipzig won, and they were already eliminated last week. And they won this week. So,
Very true.
same goes for Bologna. They also got a win, and they didn't need that at all. So things could definitely shake up a lot in the Champions League next week. So a lot to look forward to there. But I think unless you've got anything, we can wrap up the Champions League.
No, I just think that really until a couple days ago, it had all been kind of like just sort of meh, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like you had good moments, but dude, like the Barcelona Benfica game was
Unbelievable.
wild, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. Like Rafinha's goal, where he just took a goal kick straight to the dome and headed it in from like outside the box, was just ridiculous.
That was
Absolutely ridiculous.
unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out when these so the knockout stages, the draw is on the 31st. I don't know if we have dates yet for these knockout phase playoff games just yet.
We should do a live reaction to the draw.
Problem is it's at like 6 a.m. I think.
No way.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh no.
Because it's
That's not fun.
we're a little behind everybody else's timing. Yeah, 6 a.m. So never mind on that one.
Yeah.
I'm not getting up on a Friday, especially at 6 a.m. But I have a feeling maybe next week. Next week we'll talk about how everything shakes out, what things look like, because the draw will be the next day, so we still won't even have that yet. So maybe we'll also talk a little bit about our thoughts on the league stage. Obviously, it's not our full thoughts on the full format because we still have to watch the knockout phase and then the bracket and how that all sorts out. But we'll have a good idea at least of our thoughts on the whole league phase part of the Champions League.
I think we should also do a review of the stat leaders.
Yeah,
from after the
we can
league
definitely
stage
talk
as
about
well.
that. Okay, well, we've done a great job today, and we have gotten
Blown
through
this
so
shit.
much quickly, very quickly.
Yeah.
That I think it's only right that we reward ourselves with questions time. That shit, it's the cherry on top to these episodes is questions time, and I wanted to make sure that we got through these things quickly so that so we could get to this final point. And I'm glad that we've got Nathan to submit these questions for us. Thank you to Nathan.
Shout out, Nate.
Yep, we've got
Yes,
our
Nate.
6 questions ready to go, and we're only an hour 30 into this, so we've got time to play with. We're not too worried about going too deep here. And we'll start off with a question that I knew was coming. I don't know if you listened to Monday's episode. On Monday's episode, I said Jimmy Garoppolo is a hot guy. He is. He's a hot dude. And I'll double down on it, triple down on it, whatever. He's a hot guy. And so first question, because Nathan said he was going to ask this question, who are the hottest dudes in sports?
Oh. Huh. Um,
it's
trying to think.
you got it.
I
Yeah,
think I think the hottest guy ever has to be David Beckham,
definitely,
without a doubt.
definitely.
Obviously,
I think
Ren,
Garoppolo's up
Ren,
there. Obviously, he
yeah,
wasn't. He didn't
Garoppolo.
have the good player side, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He's a good looking dude.
Yeah. I'm gonna double down on Traylon Burks. I think I've talked about that one before. I think he's just a good looking dude.
Traylon Burks. I think.
I think Ronaldo's like
Um,
I think the problem for me with Ronaldo is he's always shiny.
yeah, very plastic
Yeah.
sometimes
He literally
looking.
looks like he is encased in plastic.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
I don't like this guy, but Stephon Diggs, I think, could be
Okay. I
attractive.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that choice. Vince
Um,
Wilfork as well.
yeah, gotta have Big Vince in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. I think,
Um,
we don't need to elaborate much, so we could just keep saying names, and that would kind of suffice.
yeah, I'm just trying to think.
I think Brady kind of gets there, but like early Brady was a ugly dude.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
he definitely got surgery. I don't care what anybody says.
Speaking
He
of
definitely got some surgery.
Julian Edelman is pretty well put together.
Agreed. I think Randy Moss. Randy Moss is a good looking guy.
Yes, Randy Moss is a good one. Um,
All right,
hmm.
ugly. Who's the ugliest
um,
athlete?
who's the ugliest athlete?
Let's just make sure we don't offend anybody who maybe has like a deformity. Let's steer clear of deformities and just go for straight up ugliness.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say Josh Dobbs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can maybe get away with that. Well, Shazier.
Nah.
Ryan Shazier, he's a bad guy. I'll call him ugly.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we can say that.
Yeah. Okay. I think we'll end that question so we don't make anything more awkward for ourselves. I love
Yeah.
this question. I'm excited to hear your answer. What's your favorite board game?
Ooh,
I feel
that
like
is
you're a board
good.
game guy.
Yeah, like big like family board game
Yep.
guy. Damn. Trying to think though, because we do more card games now, but there's
I think
been
that
some board
plays.
games that we
I think
really like.
I'm
Um,
much more of a card game guy as well.
yeah. Like there was one that I played recently that I really enjoyed, but I can't. I'm kind of blanking right now on board games. I can't think of one. Apples to Apples was always fun.
That is a good one.
But that's not. No, that's a card
That's a
game.
card
That's
game.
like literally a card game.
Yeah, there's no board involved in apples to apples.
Um, what was there was one called Candyland, right?
Yeah, Candyland.
That was a fun
That
board
was
game.
fun. Yeah, it was like a really childhood type. Same with like the
Yeah,
game of
yeah.
life. Like the game of life is just like it just plays
Never played it.
itself kind of
Yeah,
game. Yeah.
yeah.
Same with Candyland. I don't mind like
If my cousin,
a real like
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
thinker. I don't mind one that's like you really got to think.
Yeah. If my cousin Race is watching, comment on this video some board games that we played back then.
Shout out
'Cause I
Race.
can't think of any.
Golf
Shout
coming
out
soon.
Race. One of it's never coming.
No, I look, me and Colin cover it on Mondays. It's just the season's not going.
Yeah,
Um
that is true. That is true.
and I'm probably going to be watching some golf this year if I had to guess. I'm not going to watch the fucking TGL. I'll say that, but
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
watch some
golf only on Easter. It's the
Mm.
only time I'll ever watch golf.
Fair. Okay. I guess a lot of times Easter's typically
Masters,
is that the same weekend?
pretty sure.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't really care much about Easter. I think I probably would I'm more focused on the Masters than Easter.
yeah, of course. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
And baseball as well. Early, first couple weeks of baseball, I'm not thinking about
Oh yeah,
holidays. Opening
that's
day,
true.
March 27th. I still haven't even actually
Can't
said
wait.
a board game yet. Well, other than the game of life, which, like I said, is one that plays itself. I don't like Monopoly. There's too much going on.
Oh, I forgot about Monopoly. I do like Monopoly a
There's too
lot.
much going on. I know like the trope is like, it takes too long to play and like everybody hates each other by the end of it. That's
Yeah.
not just a trope. It's true. It's true. It takes way too long to play a full game of Monopoly. And I don't think a lot of people actually know how to play.
Yeah.
Like I've played
Maybe.
Monopoly with people and they go all the way around the board and not buy a single property. And I'm like, what are we, what's the point? You're just rolling die to roll the die. Like what the fuck is happening?
Oh man. Yeah, that's not the smartest tactic
No,
when you're
no.
playing
I think there's
Monopoly.
like a high percentage of the human population knows that Monopoly is a thing and has probably played Monopoly multiple times and doesn't actually know how to win.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
What about Clue?
I don't I don't think I've played very much Clue.
It's
Okay,
It's
let's
okay.
talk card games because I definitely know card games way better. Like I'm like a deck
For
of
sure.
cards card game kind of guy. Like
Yeah.
Nathan, Ethan, even the last for a little bit, progressive rummy with our grandmother down in Tampa, now up in North Carolina. Progressive rummy is fantastic. So
Okay.
it's a nice like few hour kind of thing. You play for different objectives each time. It's very fun. Very
Yeah.
fun game.
Um I like always, Uno is probably the staple of my family and
Mm,
card games,
love
but
Uno.
like we could get weird because like we also, now that all the cousins are all older, including myself, Cards Against Humanity is a
Yep.
big one to play with Nanny for some reason.
Love Cards Against Humanity.
Um yeah, I mentioned Apples to Apples. I don't like Phase 10 or Skipbo, I think
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
it's called.
Okay, so I've heard of Phase 10. I don't think I've ever played it. I know like Nathan and I think Spencer were telling me about it, or maybe Colin and Spencer were telling me about it when we were over
Yeah.
there for New Year's, but we ended up just playing Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah. And
Spoons,
we were
underrated.
in
I like it. I just got put on to
Oh,
Spoons.
Spoons and Pig.
Very good.
Yes.
Shout out
Yeah.
Brandon and his girlfriend for putting us on.
Dude, yeah, that's a fun one. It's always so funny to just watch someone keep playing and everybody else is just, with the spoon.
Yeah.
Or like with the nose goes too is how we
Yeah.
played it. When we were in Vegas, Ring of Fire was
Yeah,
fun.
that's
That
a
was a fun
drinking game,
drinking
but
game.
yeah.
I count it.
I think
It's a
drinking games
card
count.
game.
Yeah. Ring of Fire's
Yeah.
fun for sure.
What was the other one we played in Vegas
Ride the bus.
with cards? Ride the
Yeah.
bus.
That's that one gets dirty. That one gets bad quick.
That one does get pretty bad, but that one's fun.
Yeah,
That one's
definitely.
really fun.
I can't think of any other card games in particular. All right. Next question. I actually am interested to hear what you have to say here. How many strikeouts will
Okay.
Roki Sasaki get this season?
167.
That's a perfect guess, I think. I think that's a fantastic guess
I appreciate it.
because we don't get that many guys over 200 right now
It
at
is
least.
possible.
It is, but
But
probably won't see it all that much. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic guess. I don't know if I could get better than that. Yeah, I'm thinking mid 100s if I had to assume. He's not like necessarily a strikeout guy from the way he played in the NPB. So I think that's a
yeah.
pretty good guess there. Um, who on your MLB team won't be on your team by the end of the season? That's fun.
DJ LeMahieu.
That's, yeah, probably a safe assumption. Even if he's not going to be even if he's on the team, he will not be playing at all.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if the Braves are necessarily going to be selling uh anybody off.
Yeah.
It'd probably end up being one of the young guys. I could see trying to think of like the young starting pitching right now for the Braves. It's just I haven't quite dove in yet to like preseason baseball yet. So I haven't really
Yeah.
been thinking about who's on these teams right now other than the new acquisitions. So I have to kind of refresh my mind here real quick. Um Let me find like a proposed Braves pitching thing because I know nobody in like the I know nobody in the lineup's going anywhere. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we doing here? Come on. I don't know. God.
Sorry, I should probably be filling this space with
No, it's
my voice.
fine. I can't find what I'm looking for. I'm gonna go with AJ Smith-Shawver. I think we give him up for something big at the deadline. That
Yeah.
feels right.
For something big?
Yeah, I think we go for something big at the deadline. Starting pitching wise.
Okay.
Um
It's far to look out. I mean, that's a long way away.
Yeah, like, we're gonna get, I think spring training kind of kicks off like about a month from now. Everybody will be reporting to spring training. Then I'll start kind of thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then like once March rolls around, I'll really be like getting in the groove for MLB stuff. But it's like right now, I just no. I'm still trying to just finish football season right now. Head down, finishing football.
Yeah. The start of baseball is just like
There's nothing better.
I like the start of baseball better than like postseason.
I don't know about that, but the
Just
start of
with the
baseball is so
aura.
much fun.
It really is because like we always talk about it every year it rolls around. It's like, yeah, the weather's getting better. There's baseball.
That is true.
on,
Everything else like around it too, because it's like baseball's starting off, which means like we're a month from the NFL draft too. And like you said, the weather's
Yeah.
turning, and like there's so much to look forward to in the MLB, and it's the new
Yep.
players. And I think the best part about the prospect of MLB season is that you get to see it so much. Like a big free agency acquisition in baseball feels like the biggest one in any sport because I'm about to watch him play 162 times, give or
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
I think that's the nice thing about the MLB. So like I'm looking forward to now, like, what is Jurickson Profar even going to do? I'm not going to have like all-star aspirations of him, but I'm like, what can he add to our roster? Which I think is going to be a fun thing to look at. Yeah, I do think looking ahead on MLB season is very fun, but it's like you get into the dog days, man. Like that fucking May and June, it's a task to keep up with Major League Baseball sometimes.
For
And
sure.
then like you
It
get
can
to
really
All-Star
slow.
weekend, it's a fantastic time. You come back from the All-Star break and it's just like, all right, trade deadline, and then from there it's a little bit of a downtime, and then it's all
Grind.
postseason look, and it's just it's tough, and it takes up so much of the year. Like it feels like it's been so long since the season concluded, but like we're really about 3 months, not even 3 months since the season ended. It's kind of crazy.
Well, I mean, I dream about how the season ended, every night. So
Is it more of a nightmare?
kind of hard there.
You just
Yeah.
replay that 5th inning.
Yeah. I actually what happens is sometimes in my sleep paralysis demon is Freddie Freeman. He'll
Yeah,
just
Freddie
stand at the
Freeman
corner of my
hitting a
bed.
grand slam over
I
your
can't move.
face.
Yeah, and it's Freddie Freeman in full uniform. Like he's got his batting helmet on, he's
Yeah.
got his baseball bat, and he just stares at me.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Sandlot when the kid sees Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Except it's for a bad reason. All right, last one. Who will be the leading receiver in the Super Bowl? So this is a little bit of a thought.
Well, it's safe to say that it couldn't be a player on the Commanders or the Eagles, right? We can rule that out.
Why?
I don't feel like the Commanders or Eagles have a guy that really jumps out.
AJ
anymore.
Brown could have a huge receiving game.
Could.
And the same
But
goes for Terry.
It feels like, yeah, it just feels like it's been forever.
But like if
since we've seen
the
AJ
Chiefs
Brown.
are there, who's to say that the Chiefs' leading receiver won't be like Kelsey with like 75?
Exactly. Yeah.
And they could win the game. In Kelsey could have 75 yards. And I think for the Bills as well. There's not like a fantastic passing offense left. At least not in the
No.
typical way we look at it. Obviously, Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes still slings it, and so does Josh Allen, and Jaden Daniels can certainly do it. But like, it's not offenses that we've seen this season a ton of usage in the passing game.
Yeah. I mean, shit, like at this rate, it could be Amari Cooper with like 25 yards.
Yeah, exactly. I think your safest bet is probably Travis Kelce.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially because like if the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl, you know they're gonna feed him.
Yeah. I would say literally the only other two players I could think of. You said that AJ Brown has a possibility, but De'Ami Brown and Terry McLaurin, I think, also got to be in that conversation
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
funny that De'Ami Brown is just like so ingrained in our minds right now. But like when you put up 90 plus like 2 weeks in a row, it's kind of hard not to.
I still don't really know who he
He
is.
got drafted before
Know his
Amon Ra.
name. Nice.
It's hilarious.
Nice.
All right, final question here for questions time. Do you have a cup that you always use?
No.
I don't have a cup that I always use. I have the same Yeti water bottle that I typically have. I haven't been using it recently. I've been buying plastic bottles, which I know is like bad. But there's something it's so much easier to drink the amount of water I need to drink in a day if it's like I swing by the mini fridge, grab a bottle of water, crush it in like a couple of minutes, and then I just do it again later. It seems like I consume more water doing that than like filling up a 36-ounce Yeti. I don't know why. It just seems that way.
That's fair.
My Yeti is what I typically would use.
You should try to get a smaller water bottle.
Probably.
That way it's easier to.
But then I have to go and fill it up more.
That is true.
And I'm not
use
like right
the
by
plastic
the fridge.
water bottles to fill it up.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be a good waste of money.
Yeah.
I don't even know how much I'm paying for these things of waters. It's like 48 waters though. That I'm buying at a time.
I'm basically Clark Howard. Shout out Clark Howard. Atlanta legend.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, that's the end of questions time. It's all the questions that we've got. We're only about 15 minutes into questions time, and I'm trying to think if there's anything we need to talk. Like, we haven't talked music in a little while. I haven't really been listening to anything new.
The only thing I have is Bad Bunny's new album is pretty good. That's literally it.
Yeah. Oh, Grammy nomination or not Grammy, Oscar nominations just got released this morning. I have a weird relationship with the Oscars because I love watching movies. I do. I love movies, like, for sure. But I don't really go to the theater and watch movies. So I don't really know any of these movies ever. The only one that I've watched that is up for anything, I watched last night. It was a Different Man with Sebastian Stan. Fantastic movie. But he also kind of screwed himself for getting any kind of recognition because he's going to get nominated for 2 different movies that came out this year. Because he's in The Apprentice and he's in A Different Man, which, kind of screwed himself. I think he did a great job in that movie. It also wasn't necessarily my style, that movie. But it was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
I'm a big movie guy, but the Oscars just don't make sense to me sometimes.
No, they don't make sense to me either. Best Supporting Actress, Ariana Grande in Wicked has a nomination. I'm kind of excited for that.
But
no,
I think
I heard a lot of
ones.
Yeah, I heard a lot of awful shit about Wicked, but yet, I mean, best product design. Wicked.
Oh no! It's getting love from critics. I think it's just like part of the audience that went and saw Wicked, I don't think they knew it was a musical. Honestly, because like there was quite a few people that I saw, and their reaction to that movie was like, I didn't know this was gonna be. I didn't realize they were gonna sing the whole time.
Yeah,
it's literally like one of, if not the most famous musical ever. But like, I don't know. It's hard. I think it's really tough to win awards for acting in a musical movie,
Wow.
in my opinion.
Adrian Brody
Oh,
as a
buddy.
nomination. I
The
haven't heard
Brutalist.
his name.
I've got to watch The Brutalist. A lot of
I love
controversy,
Adrian
actually.
Brody.
Adrian Brody's up for best actor. For
Yeah,
his
with Timothy Chalamet.
yeah, Timothy Chalamet in there as well. Some people not too happy about
Yeah.
that. But Adrian Brody, a lot of controversy in case you haven't seen. They used AI in this movie that they made, The Brutalist, and they used it one time on Adrian Brody's voice to perfect a Hungarian pronunciation. And people are pissed. I don't think you could knock him for that. Like, they're just trying to get it to be the best it can be, and it was on one word.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah, I think it's crazy.
But it's also to the point of the people that are mad. It's also like, why couldn't the actor have just said it? Like,
Sure.
did a Hungarian
Sure.
accent and it'd be fine.
But if I had to guess, like, it happened after they wrapped shooting. And they probably...
Or he was genuinely struggling with it.
Yeah, it could have been. Which I guess would mean he shouldn't be the best actor. I don't know. I wish A Real Pain would have gotten more acclaim. I haven't gotten to watch it yet, but everything I've seen has been amazing. Same with Sing Sing, another one that is kind of on my watch list.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I love movies, but most of the time when the Oscars roll around, I haven't watched any of them at all. But I end up watching them over the years. Some of my favorite movies I've only watched because I was like, oh, I remember when like that won Best Picture or that was nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
So that's at least cool.
I'm a little bit upset at looking at all of the nominations that Nosferatu got because me and my buddy over Christmas break, shout out James, we were deciding between Nosferatu or Craven. And we ended up seeing Craven. And I don't know, I'm kind of regretting that choice. Craven was okay, in my opinion. A lot of people shit on it, but
yeah,
Nosferatu, I thought would probably have been the better movie even at the time, and now it's looking like that was pretty true.
Yeah, like it didn't get like outstanding acclaim. I think a lot of it was like cinematography stuff. Acting
like
wise,
design.
yeah, acting wise, writing wise, I don't think was like huge. But it's whatever. Yeah, I still haven't watched The Complete Unknown. Heard good things. Some people were just like, it's just like any other biopic. So it's whatever. Actually, I watched a biopic last night. This would be the last topic I decided to bring up here. I watched, I think it's called Marshall. It's either called Marshall or Thurgood, but it's about Thurgood Marshall. Chadwick Boseman plays Thurgood Marshall. It's outstanding. I didn't even know this movie existed. Chadwick Boseman is like the GOAT biopic actor. I'm saying it right now. He's the greatest biopic actor of all time.
Wow.
Race, 42, and I think it's Marshall. All
find it.
hits.
He also did Get On Up too, which I haven't seen, but that was the James Brown movie.
Yeah. It's called Marshall, by the way. Came out in 2017. Also Josh Gad, fantastic in that movie as well. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. Get On Up, 42, Marshall, fantastic. Race. What a legend.
What was Race about?
Jesse Owens.
Oh. Okay.
Fitting. I would say.
Yeah.
A fitting name. I'm trying to find his like full list here. Oh, he was also in Draft Day, which I guess isn't technically a biopic, but he was in it. He was in Race, right? Or am I just totally wrong about that? I could definitely be profiling
I think you
him.
may have been wrong.
I think I was. Yeah, that's on me. I guess I was just.
Stephen.
Yeah, I've never heard of that guy, Stephen James. Okay, yeah, hand up. that was a bad one on me. Should have known. And also, it's been a long time since I watched that movie. But it was a good movie as well.
A while ago.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Still GOAT biopic actor. Don't care.
I mean, yeah. The argument's definitely there.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. You ready to wrap this thing up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, liking, subscribing, commenting, and turning on post notifications as well on YouTube. And then, of course, on the podcast platforms, give us a follow, rate 5 stars as well. And make sure you're following us on Instagram, TikTok. Join the Second Short subreddit, r/2ND short. And, yeah, we got a lot to cover here coming down the road now. We've got next week, I think we'll do our NFL honors predictions, final NFL honors predictions next week, because I think that award show is on Friday next week.
Oh, perfect.
I could be wrong, so we'll see. But I haven't really thought about it yet. So we've got NFL awards coming up. The Pro Bowl we're totally boycotting on this podcast. And I think we'll all be we'll all be happy to do that. We obviously have the Champions League to talk about, baseball coming up, and soon enough it will be Super Bowl. Very soon. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now we'll be previewing the Super Bowl. So a lot to look forward to here. So make sure you're following along. Luke, anything you have for the people before we get out of here?
Man, I'm so bad at this part.
Colin started doing fun facts that he looked up on his phone every time.
I could do a fun fact.
No, don't. I don't want you to steal Colin's thing.
That's a good point. Let me. Damn. Drop your MVP of the NFC Championship game and the AFC Championship game, like your prediction in the comments below.
Love it. Okay. Well, Luke, we'll see you next week. I'll see you guys on Monday with Colin and Nathan, and we'll catch you guys later. Enjoy the weekend. Peace.